Holy shit, Linkin Park are back, and I had to make a video about it because I have a lot of opinions about it. I wanted to talk about it, and I wanted to see your guys' opinions on it. Linkin Park have been one of those crown jewel bands. I mean, there are very few names in the past couple of decades, the past 3 or 4 decades in terms of mainstream metal that has had the same cultural impact on an entire generation of people as Linkin Park did. And of course, you're gonna face some really complicated struggles and growing pains when you literally lose your lead vocalist and the voice of a generation to something as tragic as suicide. And with how clearly impacted Mike was by the entire ordeal, you could see it in his words and his performances, in his interviews. He was in a fuck ton of pain. That was his best friend, and his entire life was turned upside down. So anyone who was observing from the outside looking in from a point of privilege and proclaiming that they had to bounce back immediately and get a new vocalist and get back on the road, you are being so unsympathetic to the entire situation and how that dramatically shifted their entire lives and the lives of millions of people who loved Linkin Park. So we have not heard anything from them outside of the single that was released that was an old Meteora type single from Linkin Park. There was really no announcement up until recently where there was this ominous countdown and people knew there was about to be a huge announcement. Mike had started talking about how there was something big coming, but we didn't really know what. We didn't know if it was just gonna be a tour or maybe a new song. Turns out it was bigger than a lot of people could have ever anticipated. Not only did they announce a brand new vocalist in the band, they had a live performance, they released a new song, The Emptiness Machine, and announced a new album that is dropping November 15th this year called From Zero, alongside the announcement of a world tour that they're going to be going on in support of it. So for all intents and purposes, Linkin Park are back, and I wish the band nothing but the best in terms of success and their bounce back. I hope Mike's doing better, I hope the whole band is doing better, or they seem to clearly be in a better mind state and a healthier place, and nothing's ever going to replace Chester, but I'm really happy that they are able to get back in the swing of things and hopefully enter this new era. But of course, there are going to be ups and downs with this. First major thing is obviously everyone is putting Emily to the stake. They are crucifying her, and there are a lot of people who are playing the comparison game. There has been a lot of outcries of support and love and adoration, being happy that Linkin Park is back, complimenting her, saying that she's a great fit, but then you have a massive subsection of people who just clearly wanted Chester 2.0. They wanted someone that sounds like Chester, that looks like Chester, and they wanted to relive their memories from 2006, and they wanted to have Linkin Park 2.0 be like Linkin Park 1.0. If you're stepping into the new era of Linkin Park expecting that, that is not what you're going to receive. Not only is it a female vocalist, which is fine, and unfortunately I have seen some weird fucking sexist comments, which is absolutely like ludicrous to me. I think that she nails a lot of his inflections when it comes to rasp and tenacity. If you're talking about going after his essence, she certainly has paid a lot of mind to trying to sound like Chester, and how she has that rasp and that gravel to her voice, especially on songs like Crawling or Numb. You can definitely hear she just packs in that distortion and just that like she has that like natural gravel to her voice that made so many of Chester's things nice. I've heard some people say that she doesn't nail the emotion of Chester as good, especially in the lower moments or the quieter sections. She feels a little bit more put on or a little bit more generic comparatively speaking. And the big thing that I think is awesome about this, and some people might disagree with me, I am very glad that they didn't pick a vocalist that was very, very well established. She was part of a project called Dead Sarah, which released, I believe, 2 or 3 albums. They were just kind of this post-grunge, hard rocky band, think kind of Courtney Love type vocals, and they never really got a huge stride. They got a little bit of acclaim for one of their albums, but for the most part, they're not a name that the average person's just gonna know unless you're very much in that niche. And I think this is perfect. I've heard a lot of weird things about like her having connections to Scientology and shit, which I have no comment on that. I've literally not been following the conspiracy theories or whatever the fuck they are. If she is, she is. If she's not, she's not. I don't personally care. I really don't. The fact that they did not just pick a vocalist that was coming in with the baggage or the notoriety from another band, I think is very important. I like that she is going to try to be the face alongside Mike, of course, of the new era of Linkin Park. I feel like if they just took a vocalist that was big from another contemporary band, it might build some like positive buzz in the moment, because it's like, holy shit, this vocalist that everyone knows is part of Linkin Park now, and that could build notoriety. But I would like Linkin Park to be built on the hype of Linkin Park. I don't want them to ride off of the popularity of another vocalist that's already well known coming into the band, and I also don't want them to have to deal with someone having multiple bands at the same time so they can't give all of their energy to Linkin Park. I think that kind of bringing someone in that for the most part is a fresh face, doesn't really have that much like about her that most people know, a complete fresh blank canvas, I think is very important to the longevity of Linkin Park, and also defining this new era with uniqueness, with freshness, with something we haven't really heard before. And I think the option of picking someone that doesn't really have that baggage, that people don't really know that much about, can only be a good thing. And clearly they put a lot of time and effort figuring out who they wanted to replace it. Mike wasn't just gonna let someone in the fucking band that didn't love Linkin Park or love Chester or love the genre, love the music, or that could give the energy to Linkin Park. That's one thing a lot of people are forgetting. People that are saying, is she talented enough? Does she have the expertise? Is she qualified enough to fill Chester's shoes? Number one, I think you're coming at it weird, because trying to box her in and say that she automatically has to fill Chester's shoes and she just has to be Chester 2.0 is going against the entire purpose of coming back for another era of Linkin Park. But it's also with how much Mike loved Chester as a person, like a fucking brother, and how much that band loved Chester Bennington. Do you really feel like they would have allowed someone to fill his shoes if they didn't truly have full faith that she was qualified enough, that she had the chops enough, and that she was dedicated and motivated to making the best new era of Linkin Park possible? There's gonna be people who are disappointed because they want Linkin Park back, they want Chester Bennington, and I apologize to say this, but hating on Emily or saying that she doesn't fill his shoes well enough is not going to miraculously bring him back from the grave and have him make a new Linkin Park record. And that is a rude awakening that a lot of people need to snap back to reality. You have those classic records. Chester's memory is not lost. And just like Mike said during that live set that got uploaded, he said the people that are filling Chester Bennington's shoes tonight is the audience. And that is how people should approach this. It's not Emily's responsibility to take the form of Chester Bennington. She is her own person and she has his influence in her. Give her a chance to show what she is capable of before we go judging, before the album is even out, and listen to the message that Mike is putting out there, that Chester lives in the audience, in the love that they had for this band, and the sheer passion that they always showed throughout their entire timeline, and the care and love that they put towards Chester and his memory, and the respect that we show the band. Coming out of the gate tarnishing the memory by shitting on the person that Mike and the band put a lot of effort into putting in Chester's shoes, I think is such an asshole dick move, especially when we don't even have that much of an indication of what the album is going to even sound like, or more live shows. It's gonna be growing pains. She's gonna have time to get into the swing of things and learn her rhythm, and the band's getting used to her. So give her a fucking chance, and don't fuck over the memory of Chester by shitting down Linkin Park, because if you are dissing Emily, you are dissing Mike, you are dissing Linkin Park, you are dissing everything that led to this point to where they are back. We should be grateful that Linkin Park are breathing again at all, because we definitely could be living in a timeline where Linkin Park just never returned at all and just went radio silent, and we never would have known what beautiful music and memories could have been made in this wonderful community stepping forward. I want to know your guys' opinions though of Linkin Park's return, the live show, the single, the new album, the new vocalist, all of it. If you agree or disagree, that's fine. I know this is probably going to spark a lot of discussion, but I'm very passionate about this because Linkin Park were one of the bands that got me into music, that got me into metal and rock. So I am so impassioned with the memory of Chester and with the memory of the influence that he had and that Linkin Park had on my life. So I am very passionate about this. They're one of my favorite bands of all time. But let me know down in the comment section below your opinion on all this. I can't wait to hear it. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, subscribe to join the review family today, and smash that notification bell to be notified of my future uploads. You know who it is, my name is Jay Morris, and I'm signing off saying farewell.